This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks show number 467, recorded on November 5th, 2020. Here on Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation. A lot of conversation tonight, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in Micah, back and forth of Bellevue, Nebraska. Weather-wise, really hot, really cold. We're in that weird spot, right?
We can't decide what we want to do. I'm trying to wash the appropriate hunting attire because deer season is in November, and I can't decide if I need the cold snow like we had 2 weeks ago. Do I need 70-degree that we had in the last week? What do I need? I don't know. It's been crazy.
Beautiful. It's been 70 degrees. That's
I worked outside on the patio the last 2 days. It's been gorgeous.
Like, I think that's 70 degrees is like negative 37 Celsius. I don't know. I don't know how to do the math, but
me neither.
Aaron, what's like the nicest day is 75 Fahrenheit? What would that be Celsius for you guys? Like, if you were to pick a really nice
I want to say that's about like 20 or 25 Celsius.
20 or 25. So we'll just say 25 because that's easy to remember. Yeah. It's been that day this week. Things good for you guys, or do you already have like 8 feet of snow in your
we had a beautiful September, and then like the first week of October we got about a foot of snow, and it went down to about -10 Celsius. So it was really cold. And then it jumped up to like 15 again, which would be like in the 50s or the 60s, I think. And everything melted. And now it's supposed to get cold and snow again this weekend.
Okay.
So
well, you're really a week. You're like a week ahead of us. So I should just watch your weather, and then because it literally comes straight down from you guys. So if the winds are blowing in the right direction. And so of course, what's blowing in the right direction is the show notes. And so if you want to head out, this show in particular is going to have a lot of show notes, a lot of links to Erin's blog. You know, Erin Lawrence is with us tonight. She's been on before. She holds the record now for the most times on Home Gadget Geeks. Erin, welcome.
I do?
I think you have to. I told that to Nathaniel Lindley a couple weeks ago just to make him feel nice, but I'm pretty sure that it's you. Pretty sure.
Yay! I feel like I should have some kind of trophy or something.
I need to send you something.
Speech to the academy to thank you.
I'd send you something, but I think it'd get COVID blocked.
It might.
I'm not sure that a t-shirt or a mug or something. And so Erin's with us tonight. We're going to talk. We got a bunch of review stuff to talk about, a bunch of gadget stuff. We'll get to that here in just a second. Erin, for you do a lot on the internet. Like you got a blog and you're writing. Who do you use for your domain register when you're thinking about when you have to buy a domain? Who do you use?
Good question. I've been using hover.com because I think they at one point used to be Canadian. I'm not sure if they still are or were acquired. Okay. I think they used to be called Two Cows back in the day.
Yeah, they did.
So I use them. I was using Bluehost for a while, but we're actually switching hosting providers to... Oh, I'm not going to be able to remember it. We only just did it the other SiteGround. Oh, I did.
I was going to say, don't advertise for them because we offer Maple Grove partners. No, you're fine. You're actually fine. But if you ever need a website, like if you ever do, it's almost like I paid you to say Hover because they're kind of supporting us at this point, right? So if you go to the AverageGuy.tv/hover, that's the affiliate link for that. Get $2 off your first domain, and I've been using Hover probably as long as you have, forever. And just like it's kind of no nonsense registry, a domain registry, right? It's just they don't try to trick you with a bunch of stuff. I'm not saying the other guys.
It's so easy.
GoDaddy.
So easy.
Yeah, who make the checkout is awful. It's just a terrible experience. And so head out to the AverageGuy.tv/hover. Get $2 off your first domain, and then head over to Maple Grove Partners and get your website started. MapleGrovePartners.com, and of course that's Christian.
And Jim, I don't know if the audience heard you reference that other people's checkout is awful. Hover's is great. You kind of cut out there for a second. So Hover is fantastic. Great, easy. Other people try to offer you all this extra stuff you just don't need, and Hover's just so easy. I think I should have checked. I think I host like 20 domains over at Hover. I think I only use one, but I just have them all still because you can never let go of a domain once you have it.
No. Although I have. If I think they'll even help you move stuff over. So give it a try, theaverageguy.tv/hover, and then pair it with maplegrovepartners.com. Speaking of pairing, Mike, Joe sent us for this week. It's called Hunter. It's an Oktoberfest. I know it's November and we're 2 months late. It's like celebrating Thanksgiving in Canada.
But it's called Hunter, and my hunting season is November. So I think of this as the great Hunter beer for all of November when I'm out there in the stand trying to grab myself a deer.
Erin, why can't we line up between Canada and the United States? Why can't we line up Thanksgiving? Why can't we get that on the same day? You guys do this in October? Is that right?
We do it in October. Yeah. It's always kind of second weekend, I think, of October.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we could even meet in the middle, although I guess Halloween is kind of stuck in the middle. So that might ruin things, but
it does get in the way. What do you
you guys do Halloween on the same weekend, right? Last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. October 31st.
Why can't we do that for Thanksgiving? Like, why can't you just wait?
We got Christmas okay. Easter's all worked out. Memorial Day and like Veterans Day and Remembrance Day tend to be also different between us, but
Jim Shoemaker says hunting plus beer, what could possibly go wrong? He's probably right. Nice, Amber. Erin, what are you drinking tonight?
After the hunt, not during.
I have a bubbly. I thought it was rather celebratory because I knew I was getting to podcast with you guys. So I picked up a little bubbly so I could have something festive.
Nice. Well, we'll check in at the end of the show on some flavor stuff. So cheers. Cheers, dog.
Cheers to everyone. Yeah. Our nice Alabama beer. Sorry, Arkansas.
Yeah, Joe, thanks for sending.
He's going to jump on me for saying Alabama. I meant Arkansas.
Yeah, you can't. You'll never be forgiven for that one, Mike. If you want to send us your beers to drink on the show, and we'll gladly do that, send me an email, jim@theaverageguy.tv, and we'd love to do that. Okay. I know I'm 7 minutes in and we haven't talked about tech. We kind of did. Erin, you have been on a tear. Like, I'm not sure what's gotten into you, but if you go to techgadgetscanada.com, I mean, is your doorbell ringing like every day with stuff?
I am now officially on a first name basis with the UPS guy, the FedEx guy, and the Purolator guy.
Yeah.
He knows the name. They all know the names of my dogs. You know, I greet them by their first name. It's the bell rings every day, if not a couple of times a day, especially what's
Purolator.
Oh, you don't have Purolator in the States? It's another shipping company.
Got it. Okay. No, yeah, we don't have that one.
There's other ones?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I know. We just have FedEx, UPS, and USPS.
That's a typical American thing to say.
Well, I had to ask because I was like, "Does that sound like a water delivery company, like Pure Water?" That's what I thought it was. Maybe like you're because we have like the Culligan man, right? The Culligan man will come and give you water, right? I thought that was maybe your local Culligan man.
Oh, that's so funny. It never occurred to me that Purolator was a Canadian company.
Yeah. Erin, what do you think has led to the pickup in your reviews? I mean, did you just catch a seam of something or like why all of a sudden you told me in pre-show, you know, you were doing a couple a month and now it seems like you're doing that many a week?
I guess it's probably a couple things. I mean, I try to say yes whenever I can. If somebody offers me the opportunity to review something, I kind of look at that as a privilege. So I like to take advantage of it if I can. And I think the other thing is that, you know, when I started out, I was sort of begging people to borrow their products for, you know, just a few days to try it out. And, you know, now I'm a little more fortunate. I've got a bit of a bigger audience. And I think some people are seeing that. And I think the offers are coming a little more frequently now than maybe they did 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
Well, I think it speaks to the quality of your reviews. That's one of the things I've always appreciated. Love watching them on YouTube. You just do a fabulous job. Not gimmicky in your reviews. They're really just a solid covering of it, going through it, what it is. You don't try to cover it exhaustively at every angle. The reviews are 7 to 8 minutes. Usually I can get through them pretty quick. So good. Congratulations on working through that. Thanks. I think sometimes you got to prime the pump, right? I think so. Buy it yourself. I have often tried to be the review guy. I just hate doing reviews. It's like,
well, then that's not a good idea for you.
No, I'm not a big fan. This is what I love to do. So let's do some of this. You have, you've had both Pixel and you've had the Samsung Galaxy S20. Are we already up to 20? Is that how that?
The Note 20, yes.
Note 20.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the 20 first, and let's just talk about kind of your phone experience. You've had both those. They're on Android. Give us a little overview of the phones.
Yeah. So the Note 20, I mean, that's one of the big features of the Samsung Note phones are that I think Samsung calls it the S Pen. It's a stylus. But they're great little devices. They're super large screens. They're really light. I really like the Samsung experience by and large. The best thing about it is the camera. Now, with that said, sorry, Samsung, I'm going to complain for a second here. They put this really wicked camera array on their new Note 20, and it's huge. I think there's actually 4 or 5 lenses in the back, but they stacked so much in here that I'm going to try and show those who are watching on the YouTube channel. The camera array actually protrudes out by probably 4 or 5 millimeters out of the back of the phone. So, I mean, you can't sit it flat, you know, I guess you could get a case that wraps around it, but it's kind of clunky. I mean, I love what the camera does. I don't like how it feels. I don't like the configuration. I don't know. I appreciate what they're trying to do, making the cameras better, but the form factor leaves a little to be desired, in my opinion.
I was just going to ask that. Without a case, that would almost make it level, right? Because a case could have a cutout, then kind of made it level. I would be worried I would scratch that area if I was laying it on the ground. I mean, is it, when you set it on a table, is that hitting first? It seems like it would.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yep. And it won't, like I said, it won't lay flat because it's kind of laying up on this one corner. So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, then you're putting it face down and then maybe you're scratching the screen of it. So, I mean,
you know, I think that might be something, you know, so the iPhone has had that too. And here's the iPhone 12. This is the newest iPhone, but you could see, so I have a case on it, but that little tiny lens bump is really all you have. But that does mean that the same exact problem happens on the iPhone, is that when you lay that down,
does it? Okay.
So I have a case, obviously, which makes it level, which is what I'm talking about, because the case kind of juts out just enough. And this is the Apple case. So I think that was kind of their intention, right? Is that you're going to at least have a case that goes out that far. Right. But I kind of went naked for a little bit, the phone's beautiful. And yeah, you have the same problem. I don't know. I haven't seen many phone manufacturers not have a phone bump in the past few years. And maybe Samsung's like, you know what, if we're going to have one, let's just go all out, right? Let's have it be big and massive. But what I like about Samsung, when you showed it, is that it looks like there's almost like a raised square. So it's not directly maybe resting on those camera lenses. Whereas on the iPhone, if I were to lay this out, there's no other bump. There's no other, yes, exactly. So maybe you're hitting a little bit of the support around it, and you're not actually resting
the
that
frame,
right on
the bezel,
lens. Yeah. Whereas the iPhone, if I set this down, it's resting right on those lenses. There's no other bezel to the camera bump. So that might actually help. I don't know. I guess if you're going to do it, maybe do it big. I don't know.
Yeah. Or the only other way probably to get around it would be to make your smartphone thicker or fatter. Right. And I don't know, like, would that really be a problem for some people if the phone were 3 or 4 meters thicker?
I've had that question too. Like, I don't know why it's a race to be so thin. Like, is that what we're asking for? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the common user is asking for it to be super light and thin. Maybe we are, but I wouldn't mind a little bit thicker, having better battery life. I mean, we're all, maybe because the young generation, these are the phones they know. But for those of us who grew up with, you know, flip phones and the brick phones that our parents had, car phones, bag phones, we're like, you know what? Give us a little bit thicker. It could be sturdier and have a little bit more battery life and no camera bump. I wouldn't be opposed to that either. And I think a lot of people wouldn't. If my phone could last 2 days, 3 days, I would have it be double as thick, that's fine for me.
Agree.
Erin, okay, so we immediately go to the cameras for this, right? I mean, that's the very first. It's
usually the only part they're upgrading nowadays.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we down to? Is that pretty much on Android, and maybe even on the iPhone? Are we pretty much just down to cameras at this point, or are there other features on that Note that are attractive to you?
Well, I like the Note in particular has a feature that I really like, which is called Screen Off Memo. So when the screen is off, when you pop out the S Pen, you can write on the, I think the phone is dead here, or I would actually demo it for you, but you can basically pop the pen out and you can write notes on the screen and it'll save them for you. So, I mean, that's super handy for me. I'm always carrying a notebook around or some Post-it notes and a pen or a pencil. So for me, that ability to just take out a pen and quickly jot notes, I really like. And the fact that it will save them for you into the phone so you can refer to them later is huge. You know, that's, as far as I'm aware, that's the only phone that does that. Somebody might be able to correct me, and please do in the chat window if you know of another one, or if you guys do. But I really like that feature. And then, I mean, you know, what else do we use our phones for? They're for phone calls, for emails. You know, that kind of stuff to me is almost standard. You can quibble about the different email clients. You can talk about, you know, if WhatsApp is better than the native text app or the Apple Messages app. But by and large, they all do essentially the same stuff.
That's been the interesting part to me, is that really on a software side, you know, Apple used to always be criticized for not allowing a lot of third-party add-ins and things like that. And, you know, all that has almost pretty much become level playing field. And now, like you talked about, we're talking about, you know, little features here and there, right? The pen being a big part, which I'm kind of surprised Apple maybe hasn't, you know, their Apple Pencil has been like the thing they love to talk about. I'm surprised they haven't done an Apple Pencil Mini and had it as an attachment, especially with MagSafe this year on the Apple iPhone. I thought, okay, you could have a little holster back there for an Apple Pencil Mini. But that's really cool. I think you're now just playing on cameras, you're playing on the ecosystem and other little kind of cool little features that kind of keep people in on that phone.
Erin, there's the shot of
there we
writing.
go.
Yep, writing
Thanks,
on.
Jim.
Oh, okay. So I didn't understand that. The screen actually looks like it stays off.
Yes, absolutely. And the great thing about using it in this way is, I don't know how many of you out there have used a stylus on a tablet or on a phone, and it feels like it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. Like metal on glass just is not a great experience. That's a good word. It's too slick. But with this, it feels more like you're writing with pencil on paper. It feels a lot more natural and a lot less grating. So did they
change the material on the pencil? Is that what they did to make that feel different?
I don't know. It's been like that, I would say, for a couple of the iterations. Okay. I mean, maybe the nib on the pencil, I can't quite tell. It might be like rubberized plastic or plastic.
Is it replaceable?
Rubber?
Or is the tip replaceable?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know.
Windows Phone for a while, I think, had some, or no, the pen you would use with a Surface had tips that you could get different kinds of tips, because eventually you'd wear out that's how they'd get around it. They'd put a kind of a soft tip on the pen, so it would drag, because you actually want a little drag on your on your screen, right?
Well, remember when we could all go out and get those third-party styluses for everything with the little rubber eraser heads on them, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that lasted like a year. That was a trend for like a year. Every trade show I went to, all the career fairs I went to, everybody was giving away those pens.
Well, and you know what's funny? I just bought one of those 2 weeks ago for my wife, because she uses my iPad for class. So she is an associate professor. So she goes in there and they're all iPad based. And she was like, hey, these school iPads are super slow. Can I use yours? I said, yeah, of course. So she takes my iPad. She's like, it'd be great if I had a stylus. I'm like, well, we can get you the Apple Pencil. She's like, no, we're not spending that much money on a stylus. And so I got her like a $10 stylus off Amazon, and she loves it. She's like, I don't know. Like, I can't. I think we need to get the Apple Pencil for her and just have her test it out and see the difference, because I think she's just putting up with a lot of bad, you know, in input and stuff like that she just doesn't know could be different. But for her, it's funny, because I would be like, oh, Apple Pencil for sure. I thought that was gonna be like a guarantee for her, and she's like, no, give me that $10 one on Amazon, that'll be fine. Because all class, what's showing up on the screen is her, and she's circling things. She teaches occupational therapy, so she's like highlighting, you know, parts in the body they need to talk about and things. So she's using it 24/7 in class. I thought she'd be like the ideal Apple Pencil user, and maybe we should just get it for her and see. But she has been all about that $10. It's not rubber though. This one is You have to turn it on, but it doesn't connect via Bluetooth. So I don't know what turning it on does, but it maybe has a little more connectivity to the finger, and it has the same tip as like a Galaxy stylus, an Apple Pencil, but it just doesn't connect to the tablet at all. So I don't know what it's doing, but it's kind of cool that this thing was $10 and it works pretty well, enough for her to not complain. And she hasn't complained yet.
Tony in the chat room says you can replace. He has a 20. He has a Note 20.
Okay.
And you can replace the tips.
Good to know.
Good to know. Erin, I'm showing on screen, it's got this 8K video display. Seriously? That sounds like 5G. Like, is it real?
Yeah.
Can you tell the difference on that?
This is the thing about this. And I said this in one of my reviews, that on a smartphone screen, on a screen this small, you can't tell the difference between 4K and 8K video. It's just too small. The whole thing about the difference between 4K and 8K is the pixels. And, there's obviously more pixels in something than 8K. So where you really notice that is on a huge TV. So something like an 85-inch TV, 4K to 8K, you're going to see a bit of difference there. On a phone, no, you won't. But if you're taking home videos to take them home and share them on your new 8K TV, that's someplace where you're going to see that difference. I haven't embraced 8K video. I haven't even embraced 4K video for most of my reviews yet. Yeah. And that's mainly because just the storage for those larger video files just kills me. So I'm going to have to move to it at some point. I'm going to need like a whole different storage system. And have to figure that out. But, 8K is great, but I don't know that it's super practical for a lot of people right now.
I think 4K is even sometimes a tough sell, right? Like 4K
exactly.
I have zero, like I'm the tech guy and I have zero 4K displays in my entire house. My computer is still 1080. My TVs are 1080. I have zero 4K. My phone is actually the highest resolution device I have with the iPhone 12. But it's funny, Jimmy, you talk about being able to notice the difference. I actually just tonight, Hannah had a problem with her phone and I went to go fix it. And I looked at her iPhone 11, which was newer than my iPhone 10 that I just had 2 weeks ago. And I was like, oh man, this thing is blurry. Because it has not that much of a difference. Ew. The iPhone 12, I actually had to look it up to make sure I wasn't seeing things. The iPhone 12 is a 2532 by 1170 resolution with 460 pixels per inch. So that's my iPhone 12. The 11 is 1792 by 828 with 326 pixels per inch. I did notice the difference. Even in the settings menu, it's so funny how you don't it's one of those things where I don't want to upgrade to 4K because once I do, I'm never going to be able to go back. Since I haven't experienced it yet, my 1080p stuff looks great to me. I think it's totally fine. But now that I have my iPhone and I looked at my wife's, I'm like, oh man, you peasant, what are you looking at? This is like an old phone. Is this an Android? Like, is this a Samsung phone? I'm joking. But it's so funny how as soon as you see it and you get used to one resolution, looking back is like, oh wow, I really do. Whereas most people who haven't experienced it yet, they're like, no, I would never notice the difference.
Yeah. Erin, compare and contrast, because you've also gotten your hands on some Pixel, the 4A and the 5.
I'm excited to hear about these.
Tell me just things. Compare and contrast a little bit. What's different on these, or what was your experience with these?
When we were talking about the form factor and sort of the feel and the shape and everything, I really like the Pixel phones, the design. I love the new colors. They've got the softer edges. Things just seem to be designed a little more seamlessly, maybe. Again, the cameras on the Pixel phones. I mean, I carried, I think it was the first and the second Pixel phones with me. I'm an iPhone user. We've talked about that before. But I always had a Pixel phone with me for the camera because the cameras were, for many years, leaps and bounds better than almost anything out there, including Apple for a long time. So I love the cameras and they can do so much. I mean, you can do astrophotography with a Pixel now, which I haven't had a chance to try out for myself, but I am dying to. Better night mode. So many more options, and you can customize so much stuff and go in after the fact. And we're talking photos again. You can fix up the photos afterwards. So I really like the Pixels. I've said for a long time that if I was ever going to switch off an iPhone, it would definitely be to a Pixel. Because I just think they're great phones. They're fast, they're beautiful, and they're super versatile.
What does that texture feel like on the back? Because I keep seeing all these pictures, and it almost looks like a plasticky, but almost like textured plastic. But how does it feel in the hand?
It almost feels like paper. Like it's almost like if you found a way to put like a really nice, like durable paper wrap on it. That's what it feels like. It's very textural, very natural almost.
Almost like a D-skin that you would put on your phone, but it just comes with that.
Yeah, I guess so. It's really nice. Like it feels good. And I had for my test period, I mean, I got some cases for them, but I couldn't bring myself to put the cases on because the phones, like you were saying about the iPhone, the phones were so pretty and the texture was so nice and they just look so good. I thought, like, why cover this up? It's fantastic.
Because that was one thing I really liked about it, because I think a lot of these phone manufacturers are going towards like premium means glass and metal and the look of glass and metal. But obviously that cracks the first time you drop it. Whereas when I saw this, I'm like, that still looks premium to me, but it looks like it might be a little more durable.
It's painted aluminum is what they're using.
Is that what it is? Okay, I was wondering what the actual thing. Okay, because it looks premium, and then I was wondering about the feel. I'm like, does it feel good in your hands? Because at that point, I wouldn't be able to put a case on it because it's such a gorgeous phone, and if it held up a little bit better than glass did, I for sure wouldn't put a case on it.
Yeah. No, they're great phones. I really, really love the Pixel phones. I'm a huge fan. And the 5G, I didn't get a chance. Like I said, we don't have 5G in Calgary yet with the carrier that I'm with. So I wasn't able to try it out. But, you know, as soon as it comes here, I've got a phone that's ready to take advantage of it. And I'm definitely going to try it out.
Well, if you could just get on a plane and come to the United States, that's super easy.
You know, Jim,
super easy nowadays, right?
It's top of mind right now.
When you don't want to come here. When I got the iPhone 12 and then I started looking at it compared to my wife's Pixel, and I think she has the original 4. I think could be, or maybe even 3. They're very the new iPhone looks more like a Pixel than I think the older iPhones looked more like maybe the Galaxy phones. I don't know. I find myself looking at her phone and thinking it's mine, and I'm like, oh no, that's her phone. So I think they're very similar. Mike,
how are the edges on the iPhone 12? Because they look really boxy to me.
Yeah, no, they're here. Well, let's Mike, what, you have your phone on you there?
I do.
Well, we'll let Mike show.
Like, what does it feel like? I mean, I guess with a case, it's probably less noticeable.
With the rubber case, I love the feel of this better than the 10. So I had the iPhone 10, which has the rounded corners, and these are more square. If you see my wife and kid, I don't know if you can see that, but so these are a lot. It's all flat. You're right, and I love it. Like, so even if I take this case off, which I'll do real quick, just to show you guys,
it's probably not going to slip out of your hand. Yeah,
it is flat. And it doesn't have the curve piece. This feels so much better in my hand because I honestly liked the iPhone, what was it, 4 or 5 series, where it had this almost same exact style. And I like how boxy it is. I don't mind that it doesn't roll off because honestly, with a case, you never got to benefit from that kind of nice roll off the edge. So this feels so much more solid in my hands. And I love how boxy that bottom is. And when you drop it, it's also a lot more. I think that honestly, when they were doing their calculation on, they have this new ceramic glass, right? Which is their new terminology for their glass. I think one of the benefits, and they were able to say, hey, it breaks 25% less, was that when this falls, it's not having those rounded corners to crack. Because when I sent my iPhone in for trade-in, the only place it was cracked was right on one of those rounded corners, right? Where it wouldn't have cracked normally, but since it had a little bit of a round to it, just that rounded corner to crack just a little bit. So I love the boxy nature of this phone. It's actually one of my favorite. The reason I upgraded, number one, is because, and you know, we were talking about this in pre-show, why did I upgrade? I had an iPhone 10, not a real big need except for my speaker was going bad. Number one was the carriers in the United States are offering massive discounts right now, like more than we've ever seen on any iPhone. I mean, long story short, if you watch the post show with Jim and I 2 weeks ago, when he ordered his phone, he got his phone on Sprint for $7 a month. And that's to own it at the end of that. So $7 a month. He got
$90 Canadian, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
I was just doing the math on that. Yeah, Still a bargain.
Still a bargain, whatever it is. And, you know, even for Verizon, for me, this phone was $13 a month. So, I mean, just the deals they were doing, number one. But number two, I love the form factor. And I thought it was just a fantastic form factor. And Jim and I were also talking, one of the last years, both of us, especially him, he was on the iPhone 8. One of the last years we were going to get any trade-in value because that was part of the carrier deals, right? Was trade in your current phone. one of the last years our phones were going to hold any value for trade-in.
Well, okay. I was all set to just not have much interest in the iPhone 12 and maybe skip it and wait for the 13. But now you got me thinking, Mike. Thanks a lot.
It depends. If I don't know if the carriers up in Canada are doing the same thing, but down here, it was almost one of those things of like, okay, you're going to give me how much for my trade-in on a phone that I don't think is worth that much. Then you're going to tell me that your rebates and all that stuff on your current phone are so low. It was just kind of a no-brainer at that point for Jim and I, at least.
Erin, what iPhone are you on right now?
I have the 11.
Okay. Yeah.
Might not be as big of a deal from 11 to 12.
Yeah.
You're probably not. Because my wife has the 11.
Mike, even from 8 to 12, like there's definite improvements, right? Camera's better, screen's better, but it's not like it's a little faster, right? And those things, but I could do everything I needed to do on the 8 Plus. Like, it worked for me. It was a good phone. The one thing I didn't like is it didn't fit my camera holder. You know, I wanted to turn it landscape and put it in I've got a Mifo. I think it's called a Mifo or Motu, something, one of those camera holders. It screws into the to a tripod, and then you can you can take pictures with it. Anyways, it didn't fit. The iPhone 8 Plus wouldn't fit in it. It was just a little too small. The holder was. Now I'm back. It works again. So, it's like, oh, this is kind of cool because these are skinnier than the 8 Plus, right? But Erin, going from an 11 to 12, like, I think it only makes sense if it makes financial sense. Like, that's the only reason. Like, if you were going to get a really good deal and it was going to cost you almost nothing, then you make the jump. But otherwise, I mean, are there things, do you think, currently on that your 11 can't do that a 12 could?
By the sounds of it, no. But I mean, like, having that maybe nicer screen,
it's nice.
Would be cool.
It is nice.
I'm really curious about the form factor and the edges and stuff. I really didn't think I'd like that, but now I'm starting to rethink it.
Yeah,
it's there might only be one way to resolve this for sure, and that might be for me to just get them both and figure it out.
Yeah, go by the store, put your mask on, go by the store, see if you can, if they even let you. They probably don't even let you touch them anymore, do they? Yeah,
I wonder. I haven't been to an Apple store in so long.
I know.
Yeah, for you, I mean, the only difference is so minimal. Is like on the camera, you're talking about a 1.8 aperture on the iPhone 11 compared to 1.6. You get a little bit wider on that aperture, but everything else is really, I mean, besides the form factor, is going to be pretty much the exact same. The display is a little bit different. We talked about the resolution difference earlier. The only other difference there is a 2 million to 1 contrast ratio on the iPhone 12 compared to a 1400 to 1 contrast ratio. But again, are you editing? Like, that's a huge deal if you're talking about a big 24-inch display you're editing your video on. But if you're not, I like to joke I can see the difference on my wife's phone, but I think that might just be me seeing things because I have the new fancy iPhone 12. But I feel like I can, but I don't think there's really much incentive there between 11 to 12.
Yeah. No, I agree. It kind of needs to be a financial. I think for you, it's a financial decision.
Well, and it cracks me up, Jim, that you said you didn't see a difference because you didn't have Face ID at that point.
True.
You still had the bumps on the bottom and top. You had the home button still. It was a pretty big upgrade for you.
Well, and it's taken a little bit of getting used to for me going from home. Fortunately, you prepped me for that. And so I kind of know going in, okay, I got some different swipe things. And it wasn't hard, Mike. It was not a hard switch. I'm all in now on it. And I use that. I mean, I realized how much I use my phone. It's a great phone. I'm glad I upgraded. It's a great phone. It's just, I don't think it's the monumental lift that we used to get when we go to the phones. Right. So,
what is that next big lift though, Jim? Like I think about that a lot with phones, and we sort of touched on it earlier where what are the big iterations that are happening right now? And they tend to be the software within the cameras. So what's the thing? Like, I remember when I had a Palm Pilot and then I had my flip phone and I was like, wow, wouldn't it be great if one day they could find a way to put all the good things about the Palm Pilot into the flip phone? And then boom, the Apple phone was like a couple of years later and, magic. But like, I can't even think of what that next iteration would be.
Yeah. No, I can't.
My brain hurt.
I can't either. I think we're to that point, like PCs are there where you, okay, you know, we've gone through some, Ryan Kirshner, who's over at thinkcomputers.org. They're doing a big AMD GPU release conversations, all these, you know, and there's been some enhancements in that and faster GPUs, but they're all kind of incremental and not really that exciting and they're exciting for some people. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Ryan's having a blast right now as they're talking about it. But I haven't seen the monumental lift in the PC world forever. Like PCs are, okay, you get a faster Core i7 or an i9 or whatever. I think phones have reached that place, Mike, where it's just not that interesting. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I love the phone.
They do a lot, but they're not like life changing anymore. They're incremental.
Yeah, it's kind of a snooze fest.
And the people who are into the upgrades are the really top end users, right? The guys who try to use their iPhone for video production are really excited about iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, right? When you can shoot in Dolby Vision and all that stuff, that's big for them. So they like that. And that's like gamers on PCs, right? Like the only people who are super pumped with the top end specs are gamers, because the same PC has worked for the rest of us for the last 5 to 6 years. But the gamers are like who try to maximize FPS. Those are the guys who are really pushing PC, and they love, you know, AMD's new announcement just this last week of their new graphics cards. Like that's a big deal to them. So you have those same users in both scenarios. But you're right. I think for the most part on iPhones, because I think even on the iPhone side, it's way smaller. There are way fewer photography experts who are excited about iPhone 12 Max compared to PC gamers. You probably have even less of those.
Nathaniel asks a good question. How is a transition from Touch ID to Face ID? And then Erin, you said you love Face ID. By the way, stay on the show. The chat room, we're the important ones. Don't be messing with, don't be cheating on us with the chat room.
Cheating on us.
I think, to your point, you say so easy when you're not masked. I think that's important right now. Like, I can't tell you how many times I was in the doctor's office. I have a physical on Monday, so I was getting blood drawn today for that. And I was sitting in the waiting room with the mask on. It doesn't work.
You do that sneaky little.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Back up.
Right? It doesn't work.
I've had to do that, or, you know, you hit it enough times and you'll get the password option, which is great.
Yeah.
But I do miss Touch ID for that. And I would have liked it if, well, and maybe the next iteration, maybe the 13 would have both. Because I think like when you're at home, it's so much easier because by the time you've picked up your phone and looked at it, it's unlocked. It's done.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in our new masked world when you're out. But again, like, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'm not out as much as I was, you know, once before.
True.
And it also doesn't work in the business environment when you're trying to check your phone at a meeting on the table, right? Like just real quick, what was that message? And you go to look at it, and then I got to awkwardly pick it up, and everyone knows who's going to face my face. That's the other portion where I really miss Touch ID. So I think you're totally right, because I think the next iteration is Touch ID in the screen built in. And once they can do that and have a little bit of both, or, you know, knowing Apple, they'll probably go one way or the other. They'll probably eliminate one to go with the other. But I agree that could be really big. So I noticed that, number one, the business setting. But I mean, right now I'm not in business meetings very often. I'm working from home. The other one is when I'm using Apple Pay. I've noticed kind of a little bit, it's a weird dynamic when you go to like Face ID, unlock, and then set it down, where I was so used to just phone out of pocket, lay it on the reader, and lay my thumb on the home button while it was there, and that would unlock it, do Apple Pay. Where now it's this kind of weird pull out of your pocket, double click the side button, look at it so it unlocks, and then lay it on the thing. So it's a few more extra things I'm not used to yet. And I'm a huge Apple Pay user. I love to. And actually the easiest way is just me to use my watch. Now, I rarely use my phone. I just use my watch because it's easier. I don't even have to think about it on my watch.
I need to use my watch for more of those things.
Yeah,
you know, for sure. I want to switch gears a little bit on this. Ed Sullivan talked this week. So I have a Govee light in my garage that's motion. You know, it's got a little motion sensor on the bottom. Hasn't worked very well. And so Ed Sullivan, there was a deal, because there's always deals on Amazon right now. Now, Erin, plug your ears because you're going to get mad. This is like $1,000 in Canada. But Ed talked me into picking up. I don't know if you guys have seen these, but these.
Oh, I have seen these.
Yeah, these lights that you can kind of shape the you know the wings on there to kind of go where you want them to go, to put the light where you want.
So
them to go.
Jim, these deformable lamps, I haven't seen them called that before, but they basically like, does the base screw into a light socket, like a light bulb socket?
Yep.
And then the wings you can sort of bend and shape.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing sign language right now.
You can't. Are you stuck in a box? Are you stuck in an invisible box?
Mime now.
Yeah, all that. And this was like $20, which was kind of cool. There was a coupon on Amazon. Yeah, it was super cool. One of the things I wanted to do with it though, is I wanted to pair it with, we had listeners send me these non-neutral switch, smart switches for the garage. So I don't, because my house is old and I have the old wiring. So doesn't require a neutral switch for it. I've been wanting to put these in the garage, and then I can put it on the A-Lady, right? I can then start saying, and then I thought, oh, wait a minute. I don't have an Echo in the garage. Erin, you spent some time looking at some of the new Echo devices. Like, okay, what you looked at, obviously designed for the home, but let me ask you this question. Would you put an Echo in your garage?
100%. I have them everywhere. I mean, they're so convenient, and especially like Amazon has just they've done smart home right, because they have everything from the huge Echo Studio, which is a really large kind of premium sounding audio speaker, all the way down to the very compact, like package of nuts size Echo Flex. The Flex is like meant to be this just sort of A-Lady connected device, not for you to listen to music or podcasts or things on, because the speaker quality is not good. But, in your garage, Jim, that would be perfect, because all you need to do is be able to walk out and ask your friend to turn the lights on, and she's just going to respond. So it's perfect for a space like that. And also where you don't want cords and cables hanging, because the Flex will just plug right directly into an AC socket. So you don't have to worry about the wires trailing or finding a place to put the Echo device. The new ones are fantastic. I love the design. There's not really a lot new. We're kind of going to circle back to that conversation we just had about smartphones. Not a ton of new things with this. They've done some improvements with the new 4th generation Echo and Echo Dot. The speakers are a little better sounding, and I did notice they're a little better sounding. I like them. They've got sort of this new spherical design, which is really cool. It's actually really attractive, and it looks a lot less techy. It blends into your home, I would say, a lot more. But in terms of, again, massive iterations and things that it'll do that nothing else will do, no, we're not there yet.
Didn't we just have this conversation with the phones? Like, it sounds like
exactly.
Would you this new one with the clock? Does it have the temperature sensor in it? And would that be maybe handy for your garage?
Well, this is okay. Here, I'll give you my spiel about the temperature sensor. So the temperature sensor, you can ask the lady what the temperature is in your house or garage or whatever. What the temperature sensor is meant to do is work with something called routines that are temperature specific. So you can say, when the temperature in, or on the dot with clock reaches a certain threshold, you can set up the following actions. But the actions are not helpful. So I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. So if I'm traveling and I want to make sure that, like, because I've had this happen where my furnace kicked off, the batteries in the thermostat died and it kicked the furnace off. So the temperature, is basically just hovering above freezing. I thought, this is perfect. I'll set this up so that the Echo will email me when the temperature gets below a certain threshold. You can't do that. You can have, some of the actions are that you can have the lady, I like calling her the lady now. Yes. You can have her talk to you via the speaker, which is not going to help if you're not home. And I mean, if you are home, you're going to know it's freaking cold. You can set up a couple of other things, like she can read you the newscast if the temperature goes below a certain threshold. And I'm like, these are not helpful. There are some IFTTT connections, which do allow you to customize some of those actions a little bit more. I haven't had time to explore all of those yet. So knowing IFTTT, which is gosh, how do you explain IFTTT? It essentially lets you customize any internet interaction. It's if this, then that. So you can set up any type of technology. If my phone rings, turn on the bathroom light, for example. And there's all kinds of what they call recipes, I think, or applets now, where you can create all these actions out of all these things that don't ordinarily work together. So I'm sure IFTTT has something to fix this, but I haven't found it yet. So yeah, back to the new 4th generation Echo devices. I think they look great. I think they sound a little bit better. If you've already got one, if you've got a 3rd gen, probably don't need to upgrade. If you're still sitting on an original Echo Dot, go for it.
Well, okay, so my ears really perked up when you said they have a temperature sensor. Now, does this integrate with Ecobee? Because Ecobee thermostats have Alexa built in, which is the thermostat I have, and their sensors are so expensive and so ugly that if I could replace it, and I already have Alexas in every single room, actually more than I only have 3 Ecobee sensors, and I have Alexa dots all over the house. I mean, I have way too many to count. Huh. Now that would be a huge, I would instantly go buy 5 of those to replace, I think I have 5 dots around the house, not counting my big Echoes. So I would instantly go out and buy 5 of those today if those integrated with Ecobee. And I'm wondering if it's not today, I'm wondering if that's a future play for them to say, hey, yeah, by the way, these are also temperature sensors for Ecobee.
That is a good question. And I have yet to ever get my hands on an Ecobee.
Okay.
I did get the brand new Nest learning thermostat 4th generation, which I'm looking forward to trying out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would love to try an Ecobee. I've heard good things about them. I've also heard kind of mixed reviews, so really? I'd be interested to get hands on with it.
Okay. I am like the biggest fan of Ecobee there is. I think it's been even to get my wife on board with something like that is very hard, and she loves it too. And its learning has gotten a lot better. And yeah, but my biggest complaint is that the sensors are so expensive. Then you have to find a place to either put this little white thing around that does nothing else besides read the temperature and humidity. That's all it does.
Right.
But the fact that you have a thermostat that pulls from the right rooms on the time of day, right? At night, we don't care about the living room and we don't care about the basement. We only care about these 2 rooms. So make sure the average of these 2 is a sleepable temperature. So that's what we love about Ecobee. And so if those fit in, and I'm guessing that I would assume that's where they're going with that, right? With the temperature sensor in there, they're already built into Ecobee. They might own Ecobee. I'm not sure if they own them or they're just deeply integrated, because I can talk to my Ecobee itself is an Alexa device. So if I'm in my hallway, I can ask Alexa, and it's its own speaker and microphone.
Don't use the name or something.
Sorry, A lady. My bad, A lady. Mine doesn't go off. I could tell you because you'll see a ring right where my thumb is. There's a dot right there.
People are so pissed at us right now.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I catch flack for that on YouTube all the time because I forget. I just start talking and it's like, well, that's what the name is.
Do you think they have smarts for the commercials? I've been wondering.
They do. I think they do.
Must, right? Yeah. Because I have that blasting, and then they always do commercials, and none of my devices ever activate. They must have some smarts in there.
I think they found a way to mask it because it used to work.
You're right.
Wasn't there some commercial that ran during the Super Bowl a year or 2 ago that set off everybody's devices and like caused them to order things off Amazon or something? So
did they do that?
That would be a huge selling point for me. And those look so much nicer. Those look, because I don't know what gen my dots are. I think they're 1 or 2. They're the ugly puck, right? And they don't look very nice.
Puck shaped, right?
Yeah, and so I'd upgrade there. And the Flex actually is really interesting to me too for those spaces that I would love to replace a dot with a Flex, because the dot does stand out so much that I would love something a little neater.
Well,
and that my kids can't throw off the counter.
Erin, thanks for mentioning this. I had kind of forgotten about the Flex, and that would make a perfect garage.
It would.
Now, I would be a little hesitant about having a lady enabled garage door opener that also had a listening device in the garage that somebody could shout through the door and maybe be heard. Like that kind of would be something I probably wouldn't enable. But I'm thinking in this scenario, they also make one. And here's the deal. Like right now, how can I not do this? It's $9.99 right now, right? How can I not? I mean, I know that's $100 in Canada, but it's $9.99. Why would I not? So here's the thinking, right? So this goes on the ceiling in a plug. where it's just up and out of the way. They make a motion sensor one, but I'm replacing the motion sensor because I don't like.
That's for the night light, though, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay. Good.
That's like a night light attachment, I think. So if you go by, it'll turn on the little night light thing that's in there. I don't think that actually triggers it.
That you don't think it does. I'll have to look at it because that could be. The Govee light that I have up there doesn't stay on long enough. Like it comes on. First of all, you got to jump around like a monkey to get the thing to actually go off, and then it doesn't stay on long enough. Whereas if I do, you know, the A-Lady enablement and say, hey, turn this on, and when I'm going in, turn it off. And oh, by the way, if I forgot to turn it off, I can check from right here and say, hey, is the light still on? Right, type deal. And even set some routines. Hey, it automatically shuts off at midnight. It automatically comes on at 6. Follows sunrise, sunset. We have all those on Habitat and some of those kinds of things. So I think, man, at $10, how can I not do this?
How can you not do that?
The show's going to cost me.
And apparently there's other deals where you can get a smart plug too that pairs with it, and they bundle it for like $15.
Oh, I know. Now it's the time. So
I'm not saying anybody in the chat room said that, but
just, are you cheating on us again?
Dang it, Brian.
Oh no. Okay. Somebody else. So that's okay then, as long as, so I think that's going to probably be my weekend project, is to replace that and get that put in. From your work with the Amazon devices, what's your favorite of those? You've done them all. You've kind of tested them all. What, and I know it's kind of conditional based on how you're using it, but which one do you like the best?
Do you mean of the Echo devices or of the smart?
No, of the Echo devices. Yeah.
Probably the Studio. I've got it set up like in my living room, kind of as a really nice, high quality listening speaker that is also very smart. So, and I mean, the sound quality is outstanding. You know, it doesn't look too out of place. I have the black one, so it kind of blends into where we have it right now. And I love the speaker quality. Now, with that said, I think the new 4th generation Echoes are pretty nice. Like the sphere shape and the design is really attractive. I really do like the design a lot. My biggest complaint about that design is I kind of nudged it accidentally the other day, and it did like kind of tip and roll over, and I had to like catch it and snag it. So I was a little concerned that, you know, maybe it's not the best design, but you know, how many people are reaching around their Echo device all the time? I don't know. So yeah.
It's interesting that you picked that device, because I've kind of found the same thing. I actually would really prefer high quality audio as compared to, you know, the show, or we got for free through Verizon. We got like, I think that's how we got it. We got one of the Google devices that has a screen on it. And I was like, this is going to be great. We're going to put it in the kitchen. We're going to be able to, hey, watch a YouTube video on how to cook something. And what it is, honestly, is the best picture frame ever, because it just scrolls through our Google Photos, which actually is great. A little overpriced for what it does, because I can get one of those for cheaper. But we've never really used it for that. And I'm like, I mean, I wish this thing had a really high quality speaker, because we listened to Jim. It's actually that 1st generation Amazon Echo that you and I both got way back in the day that has still a pretty good audio to it. The big tube. Yeah.
No, it's great.
I have that in my kitchen, and I want one of those, but higher quality everywhere, because those dots are great too, because it allows you to do the control. But man, just some high quality speakers in those. I don't care about a screen. I thought I would. So it's good to know. We have $200. I mean, they're not cheap, but that's still, if it's a great speaker, that could be something cool.
I will say the show is great. I like the bigger one. I think it's the 10-inch size. But it's great if you've got Nest video cameras, because when somebody comes to your door and rings the bell, it actually automatically will pop it up on that screen for you, which is very convenient. I had one in my office for quite some time. I replaced it with a Google version recently, just to do some other testing and stuff. But those are great as well.
How do you keep it all straight? You're doing both Google Nest stuff. You're doing kind of the Amazon Echo stuff. That's...
I have both all over the house. So
sometimes you got to turn them off.
Some things I ask, some things I ask Google for, some things I ask A-Lady for.
Yeah.
And
yeah. it's a problem.
You just learn who your friends are.
It's sometimes it's a problem. I find these devices unplugged, and recently my lights went wonky and they've stopped working, and so I got to go back in and go to the app. This is the problem with testing and keeping some of this stuff, is that, you know, I've got some Philips Hue, I've got some Govee, I've got some Casa, I've got some and you're like, okay, which app was that? Oh, then I attach them to Habitat. So if I change the name of them, then I got to go to Habitat, reattach them, and I got to remember, okay, how do you do that? And what drivers did I have installed to get that done? Like, it's just kind of a nightmare. So
one of the reasons it pays to pick a system and stay with it.
Yeah. Well, but even that, like, you think about the various generations of Echo devices do different things. So you kind of need to put them in certain places where, like, okay, no, I need this one to do that. And so I've caught myself moving them around the house as well. Like, oh, no, when we got a show, we wanted the show in the kitchen. So the first gen tube got like downgraded to the bedroom.
Moved out.
Yeah. It was like, oh, you're now in the bedroom. And it just sat there sadly. Like, nobody uses me anymore. Right. I felt bad for it for a while. We've put the little pucks, the second gen little pucks, for things like setting in the bedrooms, things like setting alarms. Yeah. Things like, you know, I whisper in the morning.
I love doing the intercom with them.
Yes. Yeah. That's
very handy.
Another great way. I've gotten into the habit of whispering what time it is. So instead of when I wake up, because I wake up super early before anybody else does, just on my own, because it's stupid. And then I say, you know, I'll say, hey, say her name. What time is it? And she'll whisper, which is super considerate. She'll whisper. Have you tried that yet? She'll whisper the time back.
No.
Yeah. It's creepy. Like, it's super creepy.
I will try that with my Echo Dot with clock tonight.
Yes.
Or tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Just whisper, and she'll whisper back.
Interesting. Okay.
Probably the reason I'm having trouble sleeping is because I'm drinking too much of this stuff called espresso. And I know, like I make a latte for myself first thing in the morning, and then I drink 3 grande size of my own brewed coffee that I'm making during the day. You know, I grind the beans, I perk it. It's super great coffee. But you got to look at this Philips 3200 Latte Go automatic espresso. I'm jealous. Tell me how good it was. Just say it was great.
It was great. In Cole's Notes version, it was really great. And Cole's Notes might only be a Canadian thing too, Mike. If they are, I'm sorry.
Tim Hortons or
Cliff Notes?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cliff Notes.
Exactly. You have Cliff Notes, yes.
Okay. The Cole's Notes is definitely the Canadian version of that. Yeah, this machine. So fully automatic espresso machines they're kind of a different beast. So you've got sort of your pod machines, which are sort of, you know, you need different kinds of pods or K-cups or whatever to make the coffee. Fully automatic espresso machines will make espresso shots and will often steam milk or heat milk or whatever. And they use your own coffee beans. So they grind the beans every time you make a drink. They tamp the coffee in the machinery inside, and then they extract the espresso shot. So I have owned a really fancy automatic espresso machine called a Jura for many years. I bought it off. They have a huge resale value. I bought it off somebody on Kijiji, which might also be another Canadian resale site.
I think so.
Yep.
Craigslist. Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
The Canadian Craigslist. You guys are learning a lot about Canada tonight.
I like it. I like it. So friendly.
So I bought this machine used, and it was still, like, I think brand new they sell for about $2,000 or $2,500. They're very pricey, but I love it. I use it at least a couple of times every day to make espresso shots. I'm not a huge latte drinker. I'll have the occasional cappuccino, so it's mainly for espresso for me. So I've had this sort of premium level machine for years that I've used. And then I read about this Philips 3200 Latte Go automatic espresso machine. And I thought, you know, it's probably not going to be very good. You know, it's about $900 Canadian.
$30 American.
Yeah, there you go. It's free in America.
They pay us to take it.
They pay you to take them home. And I thought, you know what? It's not going to be very good. And so I was able to get my hands on one for a couple of weeks. And I was absolutely blown away by the quality of it. The espresso is outstanding. It's a lot more versatile than the Jura machine. It has a removable brew group, is what the mechanics inside the machine are called. With my Jura, I have to actually, and I did this once, take the whole machine apart, which you're really not supposed to do. I think avoids the warranty, to clean it out. And, you know, if you have a problem with this one, it just pops out the side of the door. You rinse it under running water and pop it back in and you're good to go.
Great. That is so great.
For it was so great.
Machine. Yeah.
Well, and the milk thing. So Jim, I think there's a photo on there, but it's got this sort of milk cup with a spout, and you just fill it up to the line for how much milk you would need for your drink based on lattes or cappuccinos, and clip it into the side of the machine. It'll heat the milk up and then extract the milk into the coffee with different levels of foam. I actually found the foaming wasn't super great on it. I like cappuccinos, which are definitely supposed to be, you know, a little bit of milk and a ton of foam. And it didn't really deliver on those for me. But I mean, everything else was just outstanding.
Okay, we're quitting the show right now. Thanks for coming out here. No,
you're ordering a Philips 3200 latte.
That's it. I'm going in. Well, and I'm an espresso guy, so I bought an espresso machine. They're super cheap. I buy the cups. They're $1 each. It's really, really easy. I bought a cheap frother that I froth. I have a routine, so I'm good. But
where are you finding dollar Nespresso pods? Because I have an espresso too, and they're all super expensive.
No. You just go to Nespresso.com. Just order.
That's what I'm picking the wrong ones apparently.
After this, apparently. Well, we can talk. You and I.
Yeah, we'll talk about this later. Okay.
Which is terribly addicting because you order 40 free shipping, so you just order them 40 at a time, and But I've always kind of thought like I would really, 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 really like to get a espresso maker. Again, I had one for a while. At the price point here, now this is probably 2 or 3 times as much as I paid for my last one, but it's probably half or a third of what you pay for the really expensive ones, right? I mean, those are probably $2 or $3 grand. Well, this is 900 Canadian, so we're probably at the 750 US probably for something like this.
So,
we can look that up a little bit later. But the
best thing is that you can use your own coffee.
I was just going to say that's going to save you a ton of money right there. Just to be able to put in any beans you want. And because it looked like from the top you just dump in any beans and it does the grinding and everything for you. That's going to save you a bunch of money.
Yeah, and you can adjust that. That's all fully adjustable. So if you want the finer grind to get sort of the darker, more caffeinated, richer, I'm not quite sure, espresso, you can do that.
The when I was out at Christian's place 3 weeks ago now, when I was out in DC, they actually have one that's a drip, but it will grind it for you. So it's got a hopper. It grinds it just the way you can set the strength, what you like, what kind of grind, what kind of beans they are. You set all that up, then set a timer. And in the morning, it'll just automatically grind it, stop it. And I'm not a big drip fan for coffee. I just never thought drip did very well. I'm a perk guy. I've got perk machines that I think make the best coffee in the world. And they're not terribly expensive. In fact, my mom's 50-year-old stovetop percolator still makes the best coffee in the world. It's unbelievable how good it is. But when I saw this, I thought this is super cool. Maybe I need to take a look again, and because I just kind of miss those. I make my own fake lattes using Nespresso. But, pretty cool. You had to give it back. How sad was it the day that it left?
It was really sad. Yeah. I'm still considering the Jura that I have is actually substantially bigger than that machine, than the Philips machine. So I'm considering kind of downsizing in size anyway, just to make a bit more room on the counter. And this one would fit the bill. So maybe I can find out if the used and reused Jura machine still has held its value on the Craigslist of Canada, and see if I can get rid of that and then get the Philips 3200 latte go.
I just like how you cater to us all the time. Appreciate that. Hey,
I have to translate, right?
It wouldn't be, it's true. It wouldn't be a show. We're going to do a speed round in just a second here, but it wouldn't be a show if we didn't talk about toothbrushes. You're still doing
your favorite, Jim?
Totally. You looked at the Oral-B 7 series smart electric. Are they getting better? Have they reached a point where they're like iPhones, where they're a kind of okay kind of deal? Where are we at with smart toothbrushes these days?
To some extent, yes. So, and the smart toothbrushes keep on coming. We've had this conversation before where I thought, you know, there's one or two smart toothbrushes. And then I started reviewing smart toothbrushes and everybody sent me their smart toothbrush. So I've probably reviewed more smart toothbrushes than most people in history. But with that said, yeah, the technology, I would say in the last couple of years, it doesn't seem like it's advanced a ton. One of the key innovations is on the screen for those who can see it right now, but it's got a digital display. So like a pictographic display, I guess. So it'll show you the different cleaning modes. It'll show you the battery life on this little screen. I mean, there are those who might say, do I really need a digital screen on my toothbrush handle? And the answer is no. But, you know, it's handy and convenient. It's got this magnetic charging base, which keeps it charged up. One of the really cool features is it's got this light ring sort of around the collar or the neck of the toothbrush. And you can set it to be whatever color you want. But if you're brushing too hard, it turns red. And if you're brushing just right, it kind of stays the color that it should be. So I brush hard. My dentist is constantly giving me crap for that. So I actually found that was really helpful with this toothbrush. And then there's some app connectivity. So this brush knows, once you connect it with the app, it actually knows which part of your mouth you're brushing. So it tracks you and follows to make sure that you're getting a thorough clean all the way around, which is kind of disturbing, but also helpful. The only thing is I didn't.
I need it bad.
Well, but here's the thing. This is the thing. I liked a lot of things about it. I hate the brush heads. I hate the brush heads on the Oral-B IO. I'm sorry, Oral-B. I do. They're kind of L-shaped. So if you think about your toothbrush, it's kind of a flat handle and the little bristles sort of stick up out the end. With this one, it's almost like the brush head is a lot smaller and rounder, so it covers a lot less real estate for starters. And it means you have to more deliberately, it feels anyway like you do, you have to more deliberately brush each individual tooth. And then the way the handle, or the brush rather, is configured, it's really hard. And I'm going to have to make sure I don't get overdubbed here for an adult film, but you've really got to insert it in just the right way.
Yes. Yes.
And it gets caught kind of in your cheek when you're moving it around if you're not, you know.
Sure.
And it just, it wasn't comfortable. And my big complaint was I can't just mindlessly brush my teeth with it.
Okay.
I can't just, you know, as we're doing other things. We're getting ready for bed, getting ready for work. Things are going on. Your teeth get brushed and then you move on with your day. I think that's part of the point with this, is that you need to be a lot more mindful when you're brushing your teeth. And that's the point. But I didn't like the brush heads on this. I liked a lot of other things about it. I didn't care for the brush heads.
Okay. I think enough said, everybody. They're like, Collison, get away from the toothbrushes. Jeez. Every time you have Erin on, I'm always amazed at like that. They spend a lot of money on these things, right? I mean, somebody must be buying them. Somebody must be buying them for him to keep marketing.
There's two things Jim loves: HelloFresh and toothbrushes.
Yeah,
you can subscribe to toothbrushes now too, right? Like the burst brushes will just, they keep it coming every month. You get new brush heads, or every 3 months, I guess it probably is. But
well, it is. They must be selling. Erin, as we kind of wrap this before we get to our kind of talk about the beers, the Oktoberfest beers that we did, is you come up on Black Friday. You've kind of done a Black Friday a post, so to speak, and kind of quickly, as you look at some of the things you've put out there, what are you most excited about, or what do you kind of lean towards? When we talked about some of this already, but what do you like out there for Black Friday?
I'm really loving the Philips Smart Sleep Connected Sleep Wake Light, which is it gives you a simulated sunrise to wake up to and a simulated sunset if you need some help falling asleep. It's a really cool alarm clock. The newest version of this one since the last time I tried this product. The last time you had to program it on the device, and it was a very complicated sequence of buttons and this weird tapping sequence to get it to work. The new version is so much better. There's an app that works on your smartphone. You take care of everything on the phone. It's all instant. It carries through. Love it. Love waking up with that simulated light and the sound of birds in the forest waking me up. It's so gentle. So that's a definite. I think
you got to brush your teeth, and it's a terrible. It ruins the whole thing.
And then you have the espresso, and it's wonderful days in my house right now.
Oh, it's so fun.
So I think that's a really great gift, especially if you've got someone who has trouble waking up or is a bit of an insomniac. I think it's a great product. I've been trying out some skincare gadgets. I tried out something called a microcurrent facial device, which is the Foreo Bear device. A microcurrent facial device delivers tiny electric shocks, gentlemen, into your face while you rub it around on your skin. And it's kind of designed to tighten your pores, to give you, I guess, a more youthful appearance. So I used that for a few weeks and really felt like I got some cool results with it. So I've been continuing to use that. Gosh, technology's never been cheaper, and it's never been better. I mean, there was definitely a couple year period of time where I think I was testing out gadgets and I was having to constantly call companies out for poor setup sequences, things that just didn't work, features that were supposed to be part of it that just didn't function properly. And anymore, gadgets are great nowadays. Pretty much everything works as it should. If any problem you have in your house, there's a way to solve it with technology. So, and everything continues to get cheaper and go on sale with things like Black Friday and the holidays. So there's never been a better time to techify your life.
Yeah, unless you're buying an iPhone. Let's just be really, really clear. Those are not getting cheaper. They are not getting cheaper.
Right. A lot of the smartphones are still very expensive, with the exception of those Pixel phones.
Before we wrap it, let me do a little PSA. Gentlemen, do not buy these for your significant other at Christmas time. This isn't the kind of tech. Mike, don't do this. Don't do this. Erin, so what I'm showing are vacuum, Dyson V11 cordless stick vacuums that you got to review. Erin, the picture I'm showing, okay, it looks pretty oh, okay, that's kind of manageable. And then I see it in the picture with you. That thing's gigantic, right?
It is massive. Dyson has two versions of the V11. There is the V11 Absolute, which is kind of a smaller and more compact version. And then they came out several months, maybe a year later, with the outsize. And the difference is meant to be that I think they're trying to get at people that want to get rid of their full-size vacuums, but sort of need something to still bridge the gap between, the small compact size. So the V11 outsize has a much bigger bin. It's got a much bigger cleaning head. It comes with 2 batteries, so you get twice the battery power instead of the 1 battery. So it's designed, they say, for, North American homes that have a lot more carpet. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, probably not a good idea to buy it for someone unless they're really asking for one.
Or you need one. That's when you buy these.
Or you really need one. Yeah.
No, super good. Well, how excited are you for Christmas? Now, Erin, are you the kind, like in the United States, we started celebrating Christmas the 1st. Like right, November 1st kicks in. Same thing for you guys up there in Canada, or more reasonable and wait till December?
No, well, the stores, as often as soon as the Halloween candy is gone, like the Christmas stuff comes out. But I find for the most part in Canada, we wait until December 1st. Oh. Though I will say, I noticed just the other day that a lot of people in our neighborhood are putting up their Christmas lights and turning them on. We've seen a lot more Christmas trees in the front windows right now, a full month before most people will do it. And I think that's because, we're all homebound, we're bored, and we need something to look forward to. So people are like, why not double the Christmas season? Let's make it 2 months instead of 1. We have nothing else to do.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, we can't hear you. Hold on.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, you guys don't even have Thanksgiving, because like our argument here is we're like, hey, give Thanksgiving its due, right? Like, don't start in November because we still have Thanksgiving. You guys might as well start celebrating right after Halloween there.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're probably gonna do it this year.
There you go.
My daughter sent a calendar, and it had all of November except the 4 days of Thanksgiving. Those were circled in a box. And then from November 1st to December 31st, it was all Christmas. So it's like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas in there. So we got a lot of things coming up. By the way, I bought that $9 Echo device that's going to go up in the garage. So that'll be it.
Hang on, you were cheating on us?
I did.
You're online shopping while we're doing the podcast?
I did. You're right.
Hang on, I'll be in the chat room.
You caught me. Sorry. I felt so betrayed when you were in the chat room. I thought we were on a break.
I thought we were on a break.
Oh, there's a good old Friends reference for you. Mike, we got the chance to drink the Lost 40 Hunter. That's what we've been doing during the show. It's an Oktoberfest. What do you think?
It was really good. That was really good. That was actually
wasn't it?
Yeah. And I don't know if I would call it an Oktoberfest. Would you? Like, that to me tasted almost more like, and I don't even know the way to describe it. Just a really good beer, I guess is the way I would describe it. But I wouldn't call it too Oktoberfesty. Maybe a little bit. Maybe that's what I liked about it, because Oktoberfest I'm a fan of generally, but not like, oh, it's my favorite time of season. You guys all know, and we've talked about it. Tajoski actually told me already, Shiner Holiday Cheer is my favorite beer. And that's what I usually drink. And so, no, this was really good, though.
Yeah. Well, that Shiner Holiday Cheer is kind of almost peachy, like fruity, really smooth.
A little bit apricot, right?
Yeah. I kind of found this to be like, usually Oktoberfests taste like medicine sometimes to me, or they taste like metal. And you're like, Sam Adams, not that great. At least Oktoberfest.
I'm the same way.
This was actually just really smooth and delicious. I mean,
that's what I mean. I wouldn't call it an Oktoberfest.
This is my 5th or 6th Oktoberfest for the year. And up until this point, I was kind of like, maybe I'm not going to drink Oktoberfest anymore, because I just couldn't find a really good one. Leinenkugel's maybe would be the closest that I found. But even that's a little bitier. This had some really smooth, but this would be a good sit out on the patio around a fire on a cold fall night, right? So Joe, thanks for sending those to you. Again, that's a Lost 40 Hunter, is what I think it's called the Hunter, and actually a really good pair of, they say bratwurst on the label, and it would be delicious with a bratwurst. How's the van? Speaking of that, how's the van life going? Are you guys getting out? Did you get out quite a bit this summer? Probably not, right? With COVID?
Not a ton. I mean, we didn't have a ton of opportunity with the pandemic and stuff. But our new van is, I'd say it's about 80% done. We were waiting for a bunch of parts. I mean, it was a terrible year to get any kind of parts or electronics or mechanical stuff. So we were delayed pretty hugely through the spring and part of the summer. We've got most of the things in the new van build in place, and just really have some finishing work to do. So we're kind of hoping we can take it on a bit of a winter trip, because this one has a heater in it, which we're super excited about. But yeah, I'm holding out for next year. It was a bit of a bust this year, like probably a lot of other people experienced, but there's always next year.
Did you end up putting this monitor in the van? Is that so you guys got to do some gaming on that as well?
No, the 32-inch 4K ultra fine LG Ergo display monitor. No, it was awesome on my desk, and I was like, damn, do I have to send this one back? Really? But it's got this cool kind of mounting bracket that will clip to the base of your desk. And so it gets your monitor like right up and off your desk. And with the widescreen and the 4K, I mean, for video editing and all the content production that I do, it was a dream. But it is pricey. I think it's around, did I look this up for you guys? It's around $600 or $700. So
that's not too bad for a monitor. Although monitors and TVs have gotten cheap. You've done... I think for folks, if they haven't checked you out on YouTube for your TV reviews, you've done a ton of TVs. right? Lately
yes.
As well.
And most recently an 85-inch Sony 4K TV, which I did not actually have furniture big enough for this TV. So I said, I had to say this in my review. I had to put it on the floor and I'm like, I know. This is not ideal, but I can't go out and buy furniture just for the 2 weeks while I'm borrowing this TV to review it. So
that's huge. You have that review up yet?
I did that for Best Buy Canada. So it's up on the blog.bestbuy.ca if anybody does want to check it out. It was a really nice TV. Really cool.
Generally, they want to go out to Tech Gadgets with an S, right?
Tech Gadgets Canada. Yes. Yes, please. Please do.
Erin, hang around for a little bit of post-show. With that, I'll remind folks, we have a meetup, MEAT meetup coming this weekend. Let me get back into this mode here. I'm not why I'm showing you the show notes. We got a meetup coming in, and of course, it starts 8 on Saturday, 8 a.m. Central. So if you want to join us, there's still spaces to be able to get that done. You'd kind of need to be listening live because I doubt I'm going to have this show out by Saturday morning when we start to do this. But if you're listening live and love to join us for the meetup, send me an email, jim@theaverageguy.tv, and I will get you in there as well. A reminder that theaverageguy.tv, powered by Maple Grove Partners, gets secure, reliable, high-speed hosting from people that you know and trust. And of course, you know that's Christian. He's doing some fabulous work. If you need any hosting, plans start as little as $10. Erin, that's a secret too, by the way. He'd love to help everything that you're doing. So when it's convenient, whatever, let us know. We can take care of you there as well. But you can, if you're not using Hover, you can go out to theaverageguy.tv/hover, get $2 off your first domain, and then get some of the best service in the world. So I have been using them for the last, I think, 10 or 12 years. It's been a long time, and you can too. theaverageguy.tv/hover. And then Andrew Morris is coming back for the 10-year anniversary. Mike, you don't even know that name because he was on the show originally back when we started 10 years ago. So the December 3rd show, Thursday, December 3rd, 10-year anniversary of Home Gadget Geeks. Andrew's coming back. Christian's coming back. Working on John Zadler to come back. Wieger will be here. I'll be here. We'll all reminisce about 10 years of Home Gadget Geeks, or Home Tech is what I originally called it when we first did it. Yeah, but celebrate that December 3rd. So we're excited to do that. We would love for you to join us live, even if you never do it. Yeah, cheers. Let's
cheers to that.
Let's do a cheers.
I knew I had the bubbly out for something.
Yeah,
there we go.
Right on.
Well done.
Right on. And we'd love to have you come out and join that live show. I don't ask for you. I mean, I tell you when it is, but I don't ask that often. Join us live Thursday, December 3rd, 8 p.m. Central. TV/live. We'd love to have you out in the chat room. We got one of the best chat rooms in the world. So, which apparently Erin found out about tonight. Jeez, we were on a break. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at theaverageguy.tv live. If you're listening live, we'll do a little bit of a post show. With that, we'll say goodbye.